Well, this holiday season is well underway. Kids and teachers have said goodbye till the new year. The lights are twinkling wherever you go, and delivery trucks are whipping around every corner. And we want to feel that holiday spirit, but life is not back to the way it used to be. We're looking for a new normal, but we're not even there yet. We're in our third Christmas season of being careful and cautious and wearing masks and watching numbers. And while the world keeps changing, one step forward and two step back and making progress, but not enough just yet, one part of the season continues to bring joy and maybe a little bit of peace, and that is the music. I can't put my finger on what it is about these Christmas hymns and songs, but it seems that even if you're not having a particularly good year, even when your head is telling you you're just not in the mood for Christmas or singing, somehow these songs just open our hearts and pull us out of ourselves. For singing really is the way that we express our deepest emotions, the love that we have found, the sorrow of a broken heart. We sing the blues of our sorrows. We describe and celebrate our best selves and our best life in song. And our scriptures, particularly in this story of the coming of the Christ child, is wrapped in music, in song from beginning to end. Mary sings this song that we read today when she joins her cousin Elizabeth in anticipation of new life. Then Zechariah will sing at the birth of his son John after he'd been struck mute for the entire pregnancy. And then we'll have a chorus of angels singing a song of peace to alert the shepherds to this good news of great joy. And later, the elderly Simeon will sing a song of fulfillment when he sees and sets his eyes on the one that God had promised would come in this Christ child. There's just something about music that fulfills a need within each individual, and at the same time, it brings us together. Something about singing that shores up our sense of hope, strengthens our resolve to carry on in the worst of times, that encourages us to be compassionate and caring in the best of times. Now, this story of Mary and Elizabeth is a story of God's love being shared between two people, being declared in song for all people. The song we read today is a song of resistance. Mary and Elizabeth have been invited to participate in God's quest to transform the earth into a place of peace and love and justice. It's wonderful and it's frightening, and at least they're in this together. They're not now just cousins or friends. They are mentors and sisters. They are collaborators in something greater than themselves and their own family. These two women find themselves both expectant mothers under the most unusual and unexpected conditions. Because Elizabeth had given up a long time ago even praying to have this child. She is past the age to conceive. She had been declared by society infertile, barren, beyond hope, and suddenly she's expecting. Mary was calmly awaiting an arranged engagement and finds herself expecting too soon, trusting an angelic vision that no one else can verify. What do they do? How do they cope in this situation? They seek out friendship. They hope to find understanding from someone else who is equally perplexed. So they spend time together in each other's company, learning, laughing, facing this first-time childbirth, the prospects of parenting dangerous children. Judith Jones reminds us that Mary, as a yet unmarried pregnant woman, might expect social judgment and shame and maybe ostracism from her older relative. But Elizabeth knows from her own experience the cost of being shamed and excluded. Because in her culture, in her time, a woman's primary purpose was to bear children. And to be elderly in the world with no children, she had endured a lifetime of being treated as a failure. So when Elizabeth welcomes Mary, she is practicing the same kind of inclusive love that Jesus will show to outcasts of all types. She sees beyond the apparent shamefulness of Mary's situation to the reality that God's love is at work, even among those that society looks down on and rejects and excludes. Elizabeth's words and action invite us to reflect on our own openness to the ways that God chooses to act in the world. What is God doing through unexpected people and places around us today in our time? Where is God at work among the people that our neighbors often exclude or treat as shameful? Are we able to listen as Elizabeth did to the Spirit, to where God is working and showing up in our lives? For Elizabeth was open to that possibility that God was present in and working through these two women that the world considered certainly inferior, if not actually cursed. She greets Mary with open arms and acceptance and affirmation. Blessed are you among women. It is my privilege to have you visit me. And it is in this safe place, in this trusted company, that Mary sings a song of hope that reaches out and includes all those who have been left out, those who have been discarded. As she sings, the mighty one has done great things for me. God's name is holy, and God has scattered the proud in their thoughts of their hearts. God has brought down the powerful from their thrones. God has lifted up the lowly. God has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. But at the time that Mary is singing this wonderful revolutionary anthem, well, nothing has changed yet on the surface. She's claiming that God has brought down the powerful from their thrones, but the Roman Empire continues to dominate the Israelites in their own land. She professes that God has filled the hungry with good things, but famine still plague the peoples of the earth. So we wonder, how can Mary's soul be bursting with joy when there's so much reason to tremble with fear and sorrow? It seems irresponsible, foolish, at best idealistic. But this desire of God for peace and justice that emanates from Mary's soul is deeply, radically, eternally truthful. For Mary's looking in God's time and sees all these things already accomplished. Her song calls us in our time, so many years later, to disrupt the violence that holds our world. She sings of a future where all children are safe. She sings of a future where people have homes and food and jobs. She sings to the far horizon and sings of the coming reign of God. We will be fed. We will be feeding others. We will be blessed as we are blessing others. We will receive justice as we do justice. All things are possible with God. So Mary and Elizabeth together embrace this frightening circumstance. They are given with joy, with hope. For God, what God wants for all of us is wonderful, and yet there are still struggles along the way. But the good news that we sing of is that God is bringing this kingdom of love and justice on earth through us. And the need for friendship and support that was true for Mary and Elizabeth is true for us as well. For in that most difficult moment, Mary needed safety, affirmation, empathy, companionship. She needed someone to recognize her and nurture and celebrate the work of God in her life. Someone who would receive her as she was and not reject her. You too are blessed in this way, for God has placed persons, people in your life to provide this comfort and guidance. And you can be the one who blesses others. Someone may be waiting for your visitation, for your call, for your companionship on the road, to bring them that gift of hope. And Debbie Thomas asked, could there be a better job description for the church? What would the church be like if we sought out each other with the same trust and openness of Mary and Elizabeth? What if we, like Elizabeth, received with tenderness all those who are marginalized and vulnerable, who come to us seeking refuge and nurture? What would it be like if our communal worship echoed this response of these two women who find themselves caught up in God's bold and risky world-changing work, finding strength in one another's company? Just as Elizabeth listened to Mary and helped her prepare for what was to come, for there were many difficulties ahead, we are here to help one another, to work things out, to listen, to share what we know, to give one another a caring companionship, passing on the skills and the experiences we have, continuing to walk alongside one another on what is a very windy road of life. This is a story of dangerous love, and it invites us to do some dangerous things like care for those who seem frightening. It's a song of hope. It's a song of obedience and resistance, of following God and resisting the way of the world. Anna Shirley sees this story as a metaphor for the choices that we encounter each day. When we agree to the love growing within us, we agree to letting go of whatever stands in the way of that love, which means we give up our right to be offended or hurt by others, then allow our love to draw us into compassion. We give up our right to fight those who are oppressing us and instead praying for them as brothers and sisters. We give up the exclusive pursuit of our own happiness, instead allowing love to show us another way in which all are benefited and all increase. So in Advent we sing. We sing because we look forward to something better than the suffering and injustice around us. We look forward to this hope, to the kindness and the generosity, the compassion of our God becoming a reality, not just for ourselves, for all people of the world. We sing because we look forward to peace on earth and mercy mild, for this is the heart and the soul of our faith. So in this Advent season, we in the church are aware that we wait in community for the promises of God to unfold in the world and in our lives, throughout the world. And here together we hold each other up when one needs encouragement and support. We help each other search for meaning in dark times. We make tough decisions and guide one another following the paths we have chosen. Together, we wait and we work for the peace that began with the birth of a tiny child. And we